Hi Scorpio, and welcome back to your September 2024 horoscope. On September 2nd, Uranus goes retrograde. For you, Uranus is going retrograde in your 7th house. So it will be time for you to reflect on whether you are being your unique self when it comes to your relationships, or whether you're showing up in your relationships being the type of partner that society expects you to be, or being with a partner that society expects you to be with. Uranus will be retrograde until January of 2025, so you have plenty of time to reflect on these questions. On the same day, we also have Pluto stepping back into the sign of Capricorn. For you, Scorpio, this is your 3rd house, so you will be reflecting all the way up until mid-November as to whether you're giving your power away when it comes to your speech, whether you are fearful when it comes to expressing what you really think. A day later, on September 3rd, there is a new moon in Virgo in your 11th house. This means that there's a new beginning when it comes to your goals and your life vision. Maybe you are entering a new type of community, a new friend group. But during this new moon, there are 2 aspects that make the start maybe a little bit more difficult or not as easy as it should be. One of those is a square between Mars and Neptune. Mars is in your 8th house, Neptune is in your 5th house. So there's this tension between having fun versus going deep and vulnerable and intimate with your partner. And obviously, I can imagine that while you're trying to start this new friendship or trying to really focus on achieving your goals, it's difficult to do that while you have this sort of thing in the back of your mind of like, okay, I just need to have fun, I need to enjoy life, but I also want to be vulnerable with my partner and be open with them. So that's detracting some of that attention away from the new beginning and the new vision that you have for yourself. And the second aspect during this new moon is a conjunction between Venus and the South Node. This is happening in your 12th house. And whenever we're talking about the South Node, we're talking about habits that feel comfortable but are no longer serving us. Being in your 12th house, maybe there's some beliefs around your spirituality that are no longer serving you, beliefs about compassion, any sort of internal beliefs that you might have. You need to examine if some of them are holding you back from achieving these goals, getting yourself to where you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years. Later in the month, on September 5th, Mars enters the sign of Cancer, which for you is your 9th house. So your drive and motivation might be more focused on your education, might be more focused on travel, but in general, you're more focused on this larger picture thinking more about belief systems, about your lifestyle, about your philosophy for life. As the sun continues to travel through your 11th house, on the 8th of September, it opposes Saturn in your 5th house. So Saturn in your 5th house has been making it a bit difficult for you to have fun, a bit difficult for you to express yourself, to get in touch with your inner creativity, your inner child. And on this day especially, that inability to have fun, inability to just enjoy things that you used to enjoy, will also make it difficult for you to feel excited about where you're going towards, feel excited about your plans for the next couple of years. Will make it difficult for you to continue to work and take the steps towards achieving your goals. And honestly, it doesn't get easier for the sun and for you achieving your long-term goals. Because a bit later on the 12th, the sun will have another difficult aspect, this time squaring Jupiter. Jupiter is in your 8th house, so you might be having a plethora of vulnerable and intimate experiences with your partner, a plethora of diving into deep topics. Again, having Saturn in your 5th house is not making it easier for you to at least remedy some of those with throwing in a couple more fun moments, lightweight moments. And honestly, I can imagine all of those maybe more heavy, difficult conversations are also just taking your energy away, are taking your energy away that you could have spent on working towards your goals. Later in the month, on September 16th, Mars ends up squaring the North and the South node. So remember, Mars is in your 9th house. It entered your 9th house at the beginning of the month, and it's squaring the North and the South node, who are in your 12th and 6th house. There could be some courageous or fearful situations that ask you to be courageous, whether at school, whether while you're traveling. And these are situations that really force you to step away from a tendency you have to draw within, to focus on your internal world, to get into states of flow and just like remove yourself from day-to-day life. And these situations, these fearful situations, scary situations that require you to be courageous, will force you to really face reality head on, to face the fact, admit the fact that you have a body, that you need to take care of your health, that very practically speaking, we all need to make sure we eat well and sleep enough, for example. And then finally, on September 18th, we have a partial lunar eclipse. So we enter our 2nd eclipse season of the year. And on the 18th, we have the partial lunar eclipse. And then later in October, we have another eclipse. So the partial lunar eclipse on the 18th is actually a full moon in the sign of Pisces. For you, Scorpio, this full moon is happening in your 5th house. So there might be a sort of revelation or deeper understanding of what it really means to express yourself, what it really means to have fun, to have an enjoyment in life, what it really means to have pleasures in our life, and the role that you want those to take in your life. And keep in mind, this is a full moon in Pisces. Neptune is also quite close by. So the revelation might feel a bit like woo-woo. It might feel a bit like high level or abstract, and it might be difficult to relate it to something tangible. But don't let that mean that you sort of let the revelation fall away or you forget about it. It could happen that later on, as you give it time, you're able to ground it a bit more and apply it to real life. But maybe not. Maybe sometimes even just the spiritual realization and understanding is already enough to cause a shift in our attitude without us needing or knowing how to apply it just yet. Also during this eclipse, we have Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, all retrograde. So honestly, this is a perfect time to spend an eclipse alone. It's a perfect eclipse to spend it alone. Go to your practices, meditation, journaling, whatever your practices are that allow you to get in touch with yourself, and spend time in silence so that you're able to hear whatever is coming through. And like I said, even though Neptune is quite close by, it's still not exact during the eclipse. The actual exact opposition between the Sun and Neptune happens a couple of days later on September 21st. So this means that you might continue to feel this sort of dreamy, flowy, spiritual energy up until the 21st. The day after, on September 22nd, we have two aspects with the planet Pluto. So the Sun trines Pluto and Venus squares it. So both a more supportive aspect and a more challenging aspect, all wrapped up in one day. The Sun is in your 11th house, Venus is in your 12th house, and then of course remember, Pluto has retrograded back into your 3rd house. So the square between the 12th house, the house of spirituality, compassion, and the third house, the house of expression. It seems to me like you want to express something about your spirituality, but it's just not coming through, or it's not being understood, or you're not able to find the right words to say it quite yet. And then the more supportive aspect between the 11th house, the house of community, the house of long-term plans, and the house of communication. It's almost like your friends are maybe helping you. Your friends are helping you find the right words to communicate, or maybe teaching you something about how to communicate more effectively. And it could be also that when you try to communicate with others more about your plans, about your goals, that part is coming through, that part is being understood. Whereas, of course, more of the high picture thinking, the abstract, the spiritual parts that you try to express are not being understood so well. So let's close off the month by talking about the last two aspects. On September 29th, we have the Sun conjuncting the South Node in your 12th house. We've talked about plenty already in this horoscope, but the South Node reveals habits that we need to let go of. They feel comfortable, but they're no longer good for us. They're no longer benefiting us in any way. And on this day, it might really become apparent to you that any habits you might have, like spirituality habits, that are maybe just feeding your ego, but that are not actually helping you in any other way. And then finally, we close off the month on September 30th with a more supportive aspect, a trine between Mars and Saturn. Mars is in your 9th house, Saturn is in your 5th house. So all of the difficult work you've been putting in with your hobbies, with self-expression, with trying to find the pleasure and joy in life again, is also translating over to your education, to your travel. It's also translating to the philosophy that you have in life, and it's perhaps rejuvenating it in a different way. And it could also work the other way. It could be that because of your education, because of your travels, you're finally able to find a little glimmer of pleasure here and there, a little glimmer of enjoyment here and there. So overall, Scorpio, quite a bit of focus for you on your internal world, spirituality, and also quite a bit of focus on the goals that you've set for yourself for the next couple of years. And then, of course, we can't forget that your 5th house is being activated by Saturn. So you're also dealing with this idea of what it means to have fun and to enjoy life as well. So I hope, even though Saturn's in your 5th house, you can still find some pleasurable moments in the month of September. I hope this forecast helps you out, helps you know what's up ahead. And I wanted to also thank you. Thank you for 1,000 subscribers. Rosie Roses 85. You are the winner of the giveaway. So go to my channel, click on the community tab, scroll down a little bit, you'll see the announcement post. Reach out to me there and we can go ahead and schedule your free reading. Thanks for subscribing, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.